but he was old as hell last time. What's the difference? He still understands the current era better than anyone else potentially. And so, look, I would love for it to be AOC. If it's not AOC, let's just do one more Bernie, whatever.
Why not?
If Harrison Ford can be Indiana Jones, can Bernie not be president? Come on. Okay, well, that is unfortunately all the time we have for today's show. Sharon, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
I loved it. And in the first part of the show, you had that little piece of hair hanging down. It reminded me of this weatherman I worked with, who then went on and his career was destroyed. They called him the hangover meteorologist. He's sort of a sex symbol. But anyway, he would twist it down and use gel. And I remember our news director would get so mad. And he'd be like, he suspended him one time for it. Because he would not stop doing that little twisty. I know yours was, I don't know, maybe it was because of that. That and turtlenecks. He was doing this black slick turtleneck thing. I mean, he was a man about town. And then the hangover situation.
Sterling Archer? What is going on?
Bolaris, John Bolaris in Philadelphia. He was a good meteorologist, bit of a sex symbol.
Okay.
And then things went terribly wrong. Yeah.
I was trying to tame it and I could not. And I kind of want to buzz my head again. I know nobody would like that. Everybody likes my hair longer, but it's just, it just is so annoying. No matter how controlled it is in the morning, by the afternoon, it's all over the place and I hate it. It actually drives me insane.
My daughter has something for you from Sephora. Sorry.
Thank you. Everybody, Indisputables coming up. Don't go anywhere. Tomorrow, solo show. It's gonna be great. Members hangout. For now, stay safe out there. Bye.
Welcome. It's Indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day, none other than Mr. Jackson White. Always fascinating to have his analysis. Top story of the day, hell of a thing. Midas Touch video goes viral showing Trump's history with Epstein. Here it is.
Charges that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring in the early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I standing there with no sweat.
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
From day one, I said Donald Trump is not in the business of protecting other people. He's in the business of protecting himself. Now, if protecting himself happens to also, by proxy, protect other people, so be it. Donald Trump is not releasing these files because he's in them. He's in them in a considerable way. So what he's doing now is he's hoping to change the focus by either A, making you not pay attention to the Epstein files any longer, or B, disrupting the credibility of the files themselves, saying that, well, the files were created by Obama and by Comey and Biden. So we went from the files containing Democrats in them to now the files being written by those very same Democrats, thus they must have no credibility. You're damn right he's in the files. If he's not in the files, that would mean that an individual who we know has absolutely no impulse control, does not believe in boundaries, has violated every restriction that law and constitution has placed on him, somehow had boundaries behind the scenes, somehow found moral clarity with an immoral human being, somehow was his best self among the worst human beings on the planet. I don't buy it, and neither do you. Let's go to it. After coming off the heels of this claim that President Barack Obama, James Comey, and even Biden were behind the Jeffrey Epstein files craze, Trump, in a stunning Truth Social post Wednesday, branded the Jeffrey Epstein story, which has been perpetrated by the highest ranking members of the Justice Department for years, as a hoax. He's now saying it's a hoax, a scam, etc. Quote, scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, no good at picking winning candidates, Trump said. He added, quote, their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. So last week when I said that at some point they're going to say Jeffrey Epstein was a hoax, I was actually joking. Not to realize that a few days later, literally, they will be calling the whole thing a hoax. We're in the twilight zone. The president made clear he no longer wants the support of those who remain interested in the Epstein investigation. Quote, I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history.
Oh, God.
And all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems. It's the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, Trump said. Quote, let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. I don't even think about talking of our incredible, unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. I mean, Trump, this is a little bit extreme for a difference of opinion here, sir. If it's only a difference of opinion and not something more like perhaps you're in the Epstein files yourself. If it's just a difference of opinion, why be so heavy-handed? Trump also continued this narrative during an interview. Here it is.
And Jim. Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going.
No, I think bad people don't want it to continue being investigated. The comments from Trump come amid a raft of public criticism from prominent MAGA influencers over his handling of Epstein, and even public polling showing broad dissatisfaction among his base. A new CNN poll shows that 3% of the public, 4% of Republicans are satisfied with the amount of information the government has put out about the Epstein case. Those are historically low numbers for trust in the government on any level. What is this about? Well, is Trump in the Epstein files? Of course he is. Come on. Of course he is. When the Epstein files were about Democrats being part of an illegal prostitution ring that dealt with children, all of MAGA, and hopefully every single decent human being would say, we want that to be exposed, regardless of their political affiliation. I am still of the mindset that I want the list to be exposed, regardless of the political affiliation that it is connected to. So is Trump in them? Yes. But you see, others are too. Others are too. This is not just about protecting people. This is about protecting institutions, protecting possibly intelligence agencies, protecting by proxy what they have done or who they have been in cahoots with. Because if it is true, it means that multiple factions of not only this government, but possibly other governments have been involved in the trafficking of minors. That's what that would mean if true. Now, Trump likely wouldn't care about that, but he would care about himself. There's more. Put him up full mass. And despite Republicans voting down a measure that asks for the release of the Epstein files, House Speaker Mike Johnson says he favors the release of the Epstein files. Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. This is a quote. And I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him, answered the speaker. Quote, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide. The White House and the White House team are privy to the facts that I don't know. This isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that, but I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. End quote. Well, sir, there's no there, according to Trump and the administration. If you recall, on Indisputable, I read the first proclamation from the Department of Justice. And they said things like, there's no credible evidence. And remember, I brought attention to the word credible. I said, for some reason, they have people who are weighing the credibility of the evidence, which, by the way, should be up to the judiciary to do so, and not the Department of Justice. I brought that to your attention. That is a wiggle word that they utilize, no credible evidence, meaning they question the credibility of the messenger or the credibility of the evidence they do have, meaning they do have evidence. The second dynamic I brought your attention to was the fact that they said that it wasn't used, or they don't have evidence that it was used to blackmail prominent individuals. Prominent, once again. What if it was used to blackmail individuals who had been victims? What if it was utilized to blackmail individuals who are minors or their families? You see, to them, those may not be prominent individuals, but nonetheless still illegal. And in my book, they are as prominent as they come. All right, Jackson, thoughts here.
I mean, the stupidity of this man just never ceases to leave me in awe. Like, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was never a big factor in life. Like, he has nothing to say. Like, what does that even mean?
Right.
On top, we don't even need to get into who Jeffrey Epstein was and what he did, because we all know. But Donald Trump is just completely over his head with absolutely everything. And this particular issue seems to be what's really causing him the most trouble. Despite the fact that he's broken all of his campaign promises, he's stirring up the world, messing up our relationships with foreign countries. The big, beautiful bill that he just passed is going to destroy millions of people's lives. I saw he did an interview with his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, and she asked him about the big, beautiful bill. And it, like, he just signed it last week. And he was like, oh, people are already seeing savings. We're already seeing investment and manufacturing into the country like never before. Like, bro, you signed it a week ago. Like, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. And, on the one hand, it's easy to say that he gets away with everything and that he got away with all these felonies. But what has he really gotten away with at the end of the day? Because now everything bad that happens while he's in office is going to be blamed on him, largely because it's because of him. It's his fault. And I guess it's going to take this particular issue to wake up some of his base, at least. We're seeing videos of people burning their MAGA hats and stuff like that. But I don't really know how he's going to hold it together going forward. People aren't going to stop talking about it. And the more that he begs everyone to shut up, the more people are Googling it. The more people are being reminded of it. Like, he's a Jeffrey Epstein, someone, nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein. Like, nah, bro, people do. But yeah, it's just, this man is just a timeless buffoon. He is the most ridiculous human being I've ever seen. And studying people is what I do.
Yeah. And, the question is, Trump, were you being blackmailed by the Epstein connection? Okay. Right. All right. We'll bring updates as they come. A black woman assaulted by bigots over a parking dispute. We have footage. Here it is.
Look, this is a boy. Yo!
Put up the picture for a mass. Black woman is assaulted by a group of bigots over a parking lot. Here's what happened. The footage, widely circulated on Reddit and Instagram, shows McPherson trying to claim the open spot when a man blocks her with the trash can. Words were exchanged, then fist. The man disappeared before police arrived, but McPherson was soon swarmed by two people. Andrea Dimitru, 45, and her child, who identifies as Sabrina Starman, 21, were now facing assault and harassment charges. The two came forward and apologized on Monday, but McPherson called their efforts disingenuous. Now, this is the attacker's statement.
What I did was completely wrong. I don't condone violence, but I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot.
I have hundreds of calls, death threatening me, telling me how they're gonna come and kill us, degrading my daughter, misgendering her in the only horrible way possible. She's suffering mental illness. It's not about this. Is what we're going through right now. I never in my life has experienced such trauma.
Worst apology imaginable. You want people to feel sympathy for you after putting out that kind of energy against an individual who had right to park where she chose. The energy you put out is energy you get back, typically. That's how it works here. Quote, I don't think it's from their hearts, like deep down, McPherson said. Quote, but I just hope they could see what they did wrong and kind of get a better understanding of how to operate or act in certain situations from this situation. That's right. It's called being a mirror. You gave them an opportunity. Their apology was quite lacking, if you ask me. There's more. The punches thrown during the brawl were nearly outdone by the venom in the air as the exchange devolved into a barrage of racial slurs that stunned the viewers. Quote, they were trying to literally rip my hair out of my scalp, said McPherson, 21, a Pace University student. She later spoke with the New York Post describing the moment. She was tackled and dragged to the pavement outside a brick row house on Putnam Avenue, July 7th. Quote, I definitely did fear for my life. Quote, you're a monkey B word. Dimitru is heard yelling in the video. Quote, you're an immigrant B word. McPherson fired back. You're an effing slave B word. Starman shouted. You're a slave for what it's worth. End quote. Starman and Dimitru said the attack has upended their lives and that they weren't the ones who started it. Quote, it was the way she approached us and provoked us for a whole 30 minutes straight, said Starman. So the 45-minute mark where we got arrested because we were just only sticking up for ourselves. McPherson isn't buying their defense or their apologies. Quote, I don't accept the apology only because I feel like the apologies are only because of how much outreach the video is getting. She said, I don't think the apology is wholesome. I don't think it's from their hearts, like deep down. After the arrest, McPherson did get to park in the contested spot, but the cost was steep. She now avoids going out alone and plans to leave the community altogether. This is one of those classic examples of individuals who simply cannot see themselves. They don't have the self-analytical ability to look in their past and say, you know what? I should be a better human being than that. I should be a better person than that. Jackson, you are a studier of people. And typically when somebody gets caught doing something like this and they're able to see themselves when they're in a better mood, a better position in life, they will say, you know what? That wasn't a good version of me. These individuals have basically doubled down and they want everyone else to feel sorry for them for the situation that they put themselves in and harmed another person.
Yeah, basically, I mean, there's no real insight that was gained from that situation. And it's not like they were fighting over the like self-defense. They weren't protecting themselves. And it was 3 of them. So, you can't say that you don't condone violence, yet you're willing to jump somebody over a parking space. I mean, it's not that serious. But as an adult, hopefully a good skill that people can learn is to diffuse situations or walk away if you really if you really don't have to defend yourself physically. Then just walk away from it, man. Who cares? And all the trouble that you have to go through for that. I mean, if y'all would have just found somewhere else to park, then we wouldn't be talking about this. Everybody online wouldn't have seen it. And you wouldn't be in a position to where your credibility shook. It's unfortunate that she had to go through this at all. And I don't particularly have faith that these individuals are going to learn anything from this. I mean, maybe they will in time, but that's not up to us. That's up to them.
That's right. There you go. All right. Well, what if I told you that mall staff discriminated against an individual with a disability? Let me take you to the video. I will give you the background. I'm taking you to Cumberland Mall. Here it is.
So much going on.
Close, let me know when you're ready.
It's gone.
Man, I come to y'all in the public, and I'm being honest, I come to y'all with tears in my eyes. I said, we had a pitch contest, we won the opportunity as a family-owned business. I'm a veteran, honorably served my country to do business here in the Cumberland Mall. And us being vendors today for Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend, you had the general manager of the mall tell us that my son cannot be in the mall with us this weekend. He's a part of our company. He's my son and my family. I find that to be very discriminatory. So the Cumberland Mall, I want to let you all know this is not the end because of what y'all have done today. And I felt it was very discriminatory that we have to leave now because my son, who's in a wheelchair that has cerebral palsy, who works with us, who's a part of our family, he goes everywhere with us, he's a man. To be treated that way is heartbreaking.
Put it a full mass. Cumberland Mall is in the metropolitan area of Atlanta, Georgia. I actually received correspondence from those who were involved in this. I'm going to give you the background and the update. A suburban Atlanta father says what was meant to be a proud moment for his family's small business turned into a painful and public lesson in discrimination when his disabled son, who uses a wheelchair, was ordered to leave their vending booth at Cumberland Mall during MLB All-Star Weekend in Atlanta. Quote, "If my son can't stay, we can't stay," said Demond Crump Sr., who walked out of the mall with his wife and 32-year-old son, Demond Crump Jr., who has cerebral palsy. "We are leaving as well," end quote. The Henry County family was invited to participate in a special vendor showcase at the Cobb County Mall after winning a Morehouse College pitch competition for their lifestyle brand, Rain. But as they were setting up shop on Friday, they say the general manager of the mall approached and told them their son had to go. Quote, "We were setting up and we were told that my son couldn't be there with us," said Crump, according to Atlanta News First. Quote, "He needed to leave the mall. We were like, huh? What do you mean? Like he couldn't be here as if he was in the way. We are his parents. We are able to watch him, see him, everything," end quote. Crump said he tried to reason with the manager, explaining that their son is an integral part of their company and always accompanies them. Quote, "I was talking to him man to man, father to father, like, man, this is my son you're speaking of." And there was just no remorse. He said, frustrated, the family packed up and left. Moments before exiting the mall, Crump recorded a Facebook video, later viewed by hundreds of thousands of people across various platforms. Quote, "I come to you with tears in my eyes," he said in the post. The caption read in part, "Special needs people can't come to the mall now?" The Crumps say they were never given a clear reason at the time for why their son could not stay, but they suspect it had to do with optics during the high traffic All-Star Weekend. They were initially told one parent could leave with their son while the other stayed behind to run the table. Quote, "You're saying that my son has to leave?" And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, what is he doing? This is my child. This is my son. He's a human being. At this point, I'm really shocked, Crump recalled. Crump also claims that when he questioned the general manager directly about the decision, the response was dismissive. And I said, "Sir, do you know this is discrimination?" Trump recalled. He said, file whatever complaint you want. You guys can leave. Now, let's be very clear. It is discrimination. It is textbook discrimination. Public accommodations. Hopefully the general manager, if that general manager is still employed, the general manager will be aware of this after the saga of what this GM has caused. Public accommodations. You cannot have a building where the public can generally commerce. They can come in, they can transact, they can leave. You cannot have that without providing public accommodations for every single individual who comes in there. For you to discriminate against an individual due to a particular condition is a violation of the public accommodations rule. That's just for starters. There's more. In a statement sent to local media, Cumberland Mall's ownership group, Brookfield Properties, addressed the backlash. Quote, this was a deeply unfortunate situation. We are very sorry for our poor communication causing this misunderstanding. We have reached out to Mr. Crump and welcomed his family to return to our shopping center. But Crump flatly rejected that explanation. This was not a misunderstanding, he said. So we don't have any desire to return to the mall. We have no plans on doing that. He said the general manager also called him later that day to apologize, citing, quote, a safety issue and offering to relocate the family to a different part of the mall, an offer that Crump declined. Now, all of a sudden, you want to make amends, Crump said. It doesn't work that way. The family has since hired an attorney and is considering legal action. When contacted by Atlanta Black Star, the Crump family had no comment other than to say their attorney would be addressing the situation moving forward. There you have it. The lack of sensitivity. You don't even need to know the law in order to get that scenario right. You just need to be sensitive. You need to be human. And if you happen to be human, Mr. General Manager, none of this would be happening. And you would not have alienated not only a family, not only a son, but also a community that supports them, which I'm included in that community and many others. All right, Jackson, thoughts here?
It seems to me like really what happened is this general manager made an arbitrary decision that he didn't like the aesthetics or something like that. Like perhaps he thought that this would make this ceremony that they were involved in less attractive because there was no real explanation to it. And if there was a safety issue, then it wouldn't have been like, y'all got to leave.
Right.
I mean, and if there was a safety issue as well, it would be for the young man. It wouldn't have been for everybody else because, you know, what is he going to do to cause harm to people who are walking around the vendors? You know, like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So from what I can, and just the little information that we have on this, it seems like the general manager just decided that this wasn't a good look for the event. If that wasn't the case, then the owners of the mall wouldn't have reached out and they wouldn't have made a statement if that was actually some type of policy. Right. But we know that it's not. I mean, the country's come quite a long way socially in a lot of regards, but especially when it comes to just, you know, like disabled people to have access to areas where, you know, like whether it's elevators, different types of ramps that they can have. Like nobody really thinks anything of this in day-to-day life. So this was a really unfortunate decision that was made. I'm glad we're talking about it. And I think that the spotlight really and obviously should be on this general manager.
Yeah. We shall see how the mall at large responds. The ownership is now involved. I'll bring you updates as they come. We got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stay.
Our audience has given us everything, so we couldn't be more connected. When we first started, people would start giving us directions and say, okay, the mics are too large, move them. Turn them into lav mics. I mean, they were incredible. And then one guy walked in and gave us a really expensive switcher and said, you guys need this, and walked out. Okay, it's amazing. They helped us build a studio. They did a $2 million funding campaign for us. And so they really are us. We do this show together to the point where some of our hosts are even former listeners. So when we say that the audience is part of TYT, we really mean it.
I think what the audience also appreciates is especially if they're members, they really get an inside look into who we are, our personal lives, what drives and motivates us. It goes beyond just storytelling. I think that what we do is allow our viewers and our listeners into our daily lives, and we give them kind of like this inside look into everything that we're passionate about and why it is that we're doing what we're doing, right? Like the motivation behind what we're doing, I think is important for our audience to know, and we're not shy about sharing that with them. And it's different from what people typically see in legacy media outlets where everything is kind of dry and robotic and there's really no personality or authenticity that comes along with it. Oftentimes when we're doing the show, I don't really think of it as me telling them stories. I think of it as us having a mutual respect and conversation with one another. And as I said earlier, I mean, not only do I feel that through the work I do, I'm informing our audience, but they inform me oftentimes as well. You know, they'll pitch stories to us. They'll tell us, you know, a certain perspective or angle to a story that we might have missed. And I love it.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like, tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, AKA Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
This is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. I'll refer to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We got a lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can. So I think this is Jimmy Lee. Is Mike Johnson signaling an openness to the files exposure, a signal that after Trump gave his donors what they want, that now they are done with him? Better dude, Trump is learning a lesson he won't soon forget. Yeah. Craig Christopher Flay, the mall GM should be the one asked to leave and build for fumigation because it's vile discrimination that might have seeped into the structure. Yep. Dana Manning, hello, all you beautiful people. Hello back to you. And micrograms, all that over a parking spot. What the hell? Yep, a parking spot. Yep. And Micrograms. Trump literally ran on release of the files, and now he acts like he's never heard of any list. Hell of a thing, isn't it? All right, that's something for you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
You called him to go back to Africa?
Ugly race.
Ugly race? He's a go back to Africa?
Don't get close to his car. Ugly.
Well, what is it with male Karens or Karens in parking lots? Put it up full mass here. So a racist male Karen went on a hateful rant during a parking lot dispute, telling a group to go back to Africa while flashing the middle finger. You know, typically when you're in a parking lot, there are other parking spots available. And even if you really like that parking lot and you get into a dispute with someone over parking spot, it's not yours, you don't own it, and you don't have to become racist because of the conflict. You know, you can just be rude and continue with your day.
You could just be rude.
What happened to those days?
Right, yeah, right.
What happened to those days? You could just be an asshole and you don't have to be racist.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to take it that far. You can just ruffle some feathers and keep it at that. No, true, very true. He could have just been rude. He could have just flicked him off, but he didn't have to get into the African stuff. But I think that maybe a lot of what was going on, what we were seeing, is my man's was in a fresh, brand new red Mercedes.
That's what
so he, you know what I'm saying? He felt like he could get away with anything. He felt like he could do anything because he extra big player now. He big papa now. You know what I'm saying? He big daddy status. So it took him a while to get to that point. So now he just don't give a damn.
Yeah. So yeah.
You know?
Somebody need to take them damn keys then. Right. Hopefully he's okay and somebody loves him. Could do an intervention, let him know he shouldn't carry himself in such a way. All right, well, here we go. Update. Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, has threatened RGIII over him disparaging Angel Reese. Here it is.
Speaking of man, RG3, tweet another monkey post about my girl Angel Reese. I'm punching your face. Okay? It's enough. Like, I don't usually do stuff like this, but just stop it, bro. You got your job, you got your podcast, leave my Angel Reese alone. I'm the one calling her and telling her not to respond. Stop it. That's the last time.
Put it up full mass. All right. Here we go. In an update, Shaquille O'Neal isn't having it when it comes to criticism of his mentee and WNBA star Angel Reese. And he made that crystal clear during an appearance on the Off the Record podcast this week. Shaq took issue when Griffin chimed in on the discourse about a racist photo edit of Reese's NBA 2026 cover. However, as he condemned a racist photo edit of Reese's NBA 2000 cover, he also threw fuel on the fire by claiming that Reese hates Caitlin Clark, which was really his main purpose in the post in the first place. Let me say this about Shaq. I know Shaq, he's a remarkable human being. Him and I do a Christmas toy drive every year together. And we try to make sure that it is thoughtfully done with opportunities for fun, for learning, and for connection. And obviously a bunch of toys, all right? He's a good-hearted human being, very good-hearted human being. For him to say something like this, he doesn't say it lightly. Let me put it that way. Griffin's original post claimed he had, quote, been quiet on the Angel Reese front because she allegedly shared content that led to the death threats against his family. He went on to assert that people in Reese's, quote, inner circle told him she hates Caitlin Clark due to constant media comparisons between the two players. The comment sparked a media backlash, with Reese and her mother even calling out Griffin for lying about the situation. Similarly, sports commentator Ryan Clark called out RG3's strange fascination with Angel Reese. It is quite strange. And here's what Ryan Clark said back in May.
The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with. You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. The whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. What Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women.
Isn't that something? All right, Jackson, the saga continues. RG3, what say you?
RG3 said, leave that white girl alone, damn it. he said, get off her back, man. We trying to clear the path. Life been too rough for her. I mean, yeah, it kind of seemed like, because, I really don't keep up with stuff like this very often, but I think it's pretty plain on his face of the type of stuff that's going on. RG3, he wanted them like, Black people got to stop playing the victim and stop being stupid. Everything's our fault. Like he wanted them people. I didn't even know he like made them jokes about like milk and all of that type of stuff. I did know that he had a thing for white girls. And if that's your thing, then do your thing, brother. But, I guess maybe he got to justify certain paths that he took down by going hard after Angel Reese. I saw her play live a couple of weeks ago. She was good. They won. They beat LA when they came through, and she was doing her thing. Yeah. But I think he one of them guys that doesn't really like what he sees in the mirror, and he might pull a Sammy Sosa in a couple of years. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes out.
Yeah. Love who you love. You don't have to disparage another demographic because that's not who you love. Very simple. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Every day, the Young Turks delivers 2 hours of solid, fact-based, timely news and progressive commentary on all the day's most important stories. We keep our viewers informed while also providing perspective and insight on the news we cover so you understand not only what's happening, but also what's happening behind the scenes, the stories behind the stories.
We play musical chairs and put these children in one awful detention facility to the next. That's what's happening at the border.
The things that got him banned, he's still spreading. So presumably, I think it's reasonable to say that if you allow him back on the website, he's going to do it again.
Any legal voter that we deem not willing to vote for my side shouldn't vote because it'll replace me that's supposed to vote for my side. That's not how voting works. That's not how democracy works.
And while many people following today's political news can get discouraged about the direction of the nation and the world, that's not us. At TYT, we're genuinely optimistic about the future, and with good reason. Today, wide majorities of Americans agree with our progressive stances on issues ranging from healthcare and education to climate, immigration, and wages. The rising generation of young people are also overwhelmingly progressive in their political beliefs and policy objectives, and they're increasingly flexing their muscle as voters and activists to demand change from our elected officials. The traditional mainstream media is mostly AWOL.
Millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A Black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, good to be back with you. A lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can. And Better Do says, that Karen is obviously an immigrant. What a hypocrite. Yeah. David Morris, I love this. Big dudes need to show up for smaller people being bullied. That's right. Good one, Shaquille says, Bernie the Kiwi Dragon. Yep. Mudcat, I find it amazing how many people would be okay with aliens from other planets, but can't handle humans who are slightly different. Well, that's why the aliens have not come. And my sources tell me they prefer to be called ETs. All right. Gunslinger_6, the parking spot wasn't what made him racist. Boom. There you go. That's right. All right. Well, Trump administration fires 17 immigrant court judges across 10 states. Put it up for a mass. I got a hell of a story to tell you. This guy right here, your commander-in-chief, has fired 17 immigration court judges across 10 states, according to the union. The International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers, which represents immigration court judges, as well as other professionals, said in a news release that 15 judges were, quote, fired without cause on Friday and another 2 on Monday. The union said they were working in courts in 10 different states across the country: California, Illinois, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, Ohio, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. Quote, it's outrageous and against the public interest that at the same time, Congress has authorized 800 immigration judges. We are firing large numbers of immigration judges without cause, said the union's president, Matt Biggs. This is nonsensical. The answer is to stop firing and start hiring, end quote. Senator alleges one firing is a punishment. The association or the Associated Press reports that Democratic U.S. Senator Dick Durbin alleged that one of the judges was fired essentially due to a punishment for talking to him during a visit the senator made a few weeks ago to the Chicago Immigration Court. In a news release Tuesday, Durbin said the judge, quote, took time to show me the court and explained its function. He said after the visit, the judge received an email from the Justice Department telling her that all communications with congressional offices should be routed through headquarters and that immigration judges should not be talking directly with members of Congress. Her abrupt termination is an abuse of power by the administration to punish a non-political judge simply for doing a job, said Durbin, who's the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. But the union said that since the Trump administration took office, over 103 judges have either been fired or voluntarily left after taking what was dubbed the fork in the road offers at the beginning of the administration. The union said that rather than speeding up the immigration court process, the Justice Department's firings would actually make the backlogs worse. According to a recent ICE memo, the Trump administration has declared that immigrants who arrived in the United States illegally are no longer able or eligible for a bond hearing as they fight deportation proceedings in court, according to court documents reviewed by the Washington Post. In a July 8th memo, Todd M. Lyons, acting director of ICE, told officers that such immigrants should be detained, quote, for the duration of their removal proceeding, which can take months or years. The Washington Post reports lawyers say the policy will apply to millions of immigrants who crossed the U.S.-Mexico border over the past few decades, including under the Biden administration. In the past, immigrants residing in the U.S. interior generally have been allowed to request a bond hearing before an immigration judge, but Lyons wrote that the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security and Justice said, Security and Justice had, quote, revisited its legal position on detention and release authorities and determined that such immigrants, quote, may not be released from ICE custody. In rare exceptions, immigrants may be released on parole, but that decision will be up to an immigration officer, not a judge, he wrote. The fundamental question is, do you have to be an American citizen in order to have constitutional rights? The answer is no. It is clear in the Constitution. It is clear in the multiple interpretations by the Supreme Court of the Constitution. You do not have to be an American citizen to receive these rights. So what they're doing is they are eroding the rights of non-citizens, as they would say, because if they can get away with eroding the rights of non-citizens, they will absolutely get away with eroding the rights of citizens. They would take that away as well. They did the same thing when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They made you believe this was about affirmative action. And as soon as they got you to say, yes, it's about affirmative action and affirmative action needs to go, they then came after everything else, just like the plan says. This is another part of that plan. All right, Jackson, thoughts?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that as much as the Trump administration can, they're trying to make room for loyalists and people who won't give any type of pushback to Trump or anybody in his administration at all. Because, so much of what him and particularly Elon Musk before he was gone and Doge tried to do were just flat out illegal, whether it be the hundreds or thousands of people that they tried to fire. They did get away with a lot of it. They didn't get away with some of it, or some of the cuts that they tried to make to vital programs and benefit outlets that people count on to survive or at least stay above water. And, a lot of the time people think that, it's just the individuals who are below the poverty line who just continuously take advantage of those benefits. But oftentimes, people lose jobs, people go through things, and they may only do that for a couple of months. And they try to take that away from people. And that's why we have these federal judges in these positions to be like, no, you can't just arbitrarily do this. One of the bigger issues that the Trump administration faces, or really any type of broad authoritarian in a country like America, is we got the midterms in a year and a half. So, that's one of the bigger reasons that they're trying to destroy the administrative and regulatory state as much as they can before then. But even at that, Donald Trump is an old man. He's sick. He's an idiot. He's not made for this. He's not about that life in reality. So, we're not dealing with like some strapping military individual in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or even 60s who has decades ahead of them potentially to lead the country. Like Trump can't do what he's trying to do. He's going to be out of office. He might not make it through his whole term. We don't know. But in doing so, they're really just making a huge mess out of the political process in this country in general, which is to the benefit of corporate America, the oligarchs, and just the far right wing in this country who really are not interested in people like you and me participating in the process at all.
Right. Well said. We'll bring updates as they come, guaranteed to be many. We got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stay.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to big pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
We talk about TYT Army being so strong. Usually they help us run our show. Now they're gonna help us run the country.
Like this.
It's time that we reclaim democracy for the people.
We had a huge victory for Wolfpack.
When Lincoln said this was a country by, of, and for, he said of the people, not of corporations.
Our representatives don't represent us. Whoa, democracy!
United! We are! We are! Too strong!
There's thousands of volunteers, and you could be among them. When you get the power back, oh, that feels good. This is just the beginning. Knock, knock.
We're coming for them!
Wolf-pack.com.
Mayweather will knock out Pacquiao. Floyd beats his wife.
Okay, I get it. You're progressive. You're looking for other progressive voices. Why? Because you want real progress to happen. You're tired of the why, regular stuff. You should be checking out the Young Turks. Why? Because who else is going to have Killer Mike talking about politics and social issues in his new TV show, Trigger Warning?
My dad wrote the story of his life. It's called Original Young Turk. It's a book on shoptyt.com. Part of the story is how I became progressive. Now, he doesn't write about that per se, but in his life story, you see, oh my God, when a community helps one another, when the government also chips in and gives you free education, anything is possible. He went from an incredibly poor olive farmer to living the American dream.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Hell of a thing. FBI releases Mississippi Police Department's long history of brutality. All right, put it up full mass. We are going to go line by line of this story. Despite years of denial, complete denial of prior knowledge, numerous records and documents show that Brian Bailey, sheriff of Rankin County, Mississippi, knew about deputies' police brutality. There have been multiple lawsuits and investigations surrounding this story. The Rankin County Police Department and accusations of police brutality. In 2012, Mr. Bailey became sheriff. The department and the FBI had reviewed video footage of a deputy ramming his car into a teenager fleeing arrest and threatening to kill him. 8 years later, a man sued the department claiming that deputies had hit him with a metal rod and shoved a gun in his mouth while he was handcuffed. Then in 2022, a deputy was caught on video using his taser to shock a handcuffed man in the back of a patrol car. Several deputies were involved. They were tied to the Goon Squad, a nickname for a group of the violent deputies. They were convicted for their role in the torture of Eddie Parker and Mr. Michael Jenkins. Okay. All right. So we covered this story in much detail. We should have the pictures of those victims up there. We covered this story in much detail. We were the first national organization to cover that story. It was a local story that nobody believed at that time. The attorney contacted me directly and we were able to get those victims on the show. Not only were they tortured, they were sexually assaulted. They were also then carried to the local hospital after the cops shot one of them in the jaw. Shot him in the face. It was 2 different jurisdictions. Not one jurisdiction, but 2 jurisdictions decided to do this. Everyone denied it ever happened, including the sheriff. Fast forward. State charges are fixed. Federal charges are fixed. These gentlemen, if you can call them that, these criminals, they get convicted. Then the rest of the story unravels. The sheriff, who claimed he knew nothing about the Goon Squad, he had no idea they were doing this to citizens, contrary to the report from the victims. The sheriff claimed he had no knowledge. Come to find out, the sheriff not only had knowledge, but he was utilizing individuals inside of his jail as slaves. He also was utilizing officers, deputies, to be slave masters, to supervise his slave labor. He was utilizing the absolute taxpayer-funded material for his farm or his plantation. Also, machinery, taxpayer-funded for his plantation and his mother's plantation. And he had labor from the jail doing so. Now, Jason Dare, the lawyer for the sheriff's department, defended its handling of misconduct investigations, saying the cases show that the department worked with federal agencies to promote, quote, constitutionally permissive policing while keeping crime in check. He said that each of the cases had been investigated by the FBI and that none of them resulted in a finding of impropriety. This year, during depositions taken as part of a lawsuit, Sheriff Bailey said he had no reason to think that the violence was widespread, although he acknowledged that the department did not have a centralized system to track the complaints it received. He said the FBI never indicated that there were problems at the department, but the FBI and Sheriff Bailey were aware of allegations of misconduct by Rankin deputies, including some who would later be sentenced along with members of the Goon Squad. In 2 of the 3 newly revealed cases, video taken by cameras mounted in patrol cars supported allegations of excessive force. In one of those cases, 2 officers also said in 2012 that they had held down a robbery suspect while another deputy beat him, contradicting their initial reports on the use of force, according to Jeffrey Artis, the FBI agent who investigated. Mr. Dare said the FBI never informed the department of his findings. While officials are continually using aggressive force against black suspects, Mr. Artis, now retired, had been assigned to civil rights violations in Mississippi for nearly a decade. He said video taken from a patrol car showed Danielle Warren, then a deputy in Rankin County who was not associated with the Goon Squad, ramming his car into Justin Archie, a teenager who had run from the police after committing an armed robbery. Mr. Artis said the video also showed Mr. Warren shouting that he was going to kill the teenager. He said the video evidence alone showed, quote, 100% unnecessary excessive force, end quote. Two other deputies involved in the arrest told Mr. Artis that Mr. Warren had used a slapjack, a weapon typically made from leather and filled with metal weights, to beat Mr. Archie while they held him down and tried to handcuff him. In 2013, Archie filed a lawsuit claiming Warren shouted racial slurs at him during the attack. Dare claims to be unable to locate the video. When the case was turned over to federal prosecutors, they declined to indict the officers. Warren remained on staff only to be relocated. Mr. Warren continued to work for the department for more than a year. Then in 2013, a jail inmate on work detail found Mr. Warren's car unlocked with the keys and gun inside and used it to escape. Department records show Mr. Warren, who did not respond to requests for comment, was terminated the next day. Mr. Warren was not fired for police brutality or his treatment toward others. He was reassigned within the department to animal control only when his conduct resulted in an inmate escaping was he fired then. After Mr. Warren's departure, and years before the public first learned of the Goon Squad, Dorothy Johnson says she called the FBI to report that her son, Carvis Johnson, had been beaten by Rankin County deputies in 2019. In 2020, Mr. Johnson sued the department. His lawsuit accused a group of deputies, including Brett McAlpin and Christian Dedman, who became central figures in the Jenkins and Parker case, as we covered here, of beating him with their fist and a metal rod during a stop. As in several assaults that other victims later described, a deputy put his gun in Mr. Johnson's mouth while he was handcuffed, according to the lawsuit. Quote, "They beat me like a slave," Mr. Johnson wrote in his complaint. Mrs. Johnson's lawsuit accused Jamie Perry of sticking a gun in his mouth and James Rayborn of beating him. The deputies were listed in the department's record as present during multiple arrests, previously reported by Mississippi Today and The Times. There were victims where victims said they were waterboarded, shot, and tasered, or beaten while restrained. State records show that Mr. Perry resigned in good standing in 2021, and Mr. Rayborn still works for the sheriff's department. For years, there has been a consistent pattern of police brutality which has been covered up and not properly reported nor investigated by superiors. The result has been the mistreatment, the torture, the tasing, the brutality against suspects. Weeks before the torture of Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Parker, the group joked in a text thread about a recent arrest made by Mr. Cook. One deputy asked whether he had shot that suspect in the face. Mr. Cook replied that he had tackled the man as if in a football video game, calling it so fun, in response to the group's commanding sergeant saying, "Good job, guys." I said from day one that the whole department is corrupt. That has been proven to be true. We have covered this saga from day one. Very thankful that the continued advocacy of attorneys involved in this case and those of you who have been with us since day one covering this remain steadfast. Now we have an exposure of an entire department involved in everything from brutality to slavery is now being exposed. All right, Jackson, thoughts here?
Well, firstly, you know, if the FBI is exposing law enforcement in this country, then it's beyond undeniable. You know that there's things that are completely egregious and further than unacceptable that are happening. And I think it's important to point out as well that states like Mississippi are easy to overlook for everything. It's the poorest state in the union, but it's also the blackest state in the union. And so instances like this really can go unrecorded, or at least overlooked by the rest of the country as we're paying more attention to things that are happening in places like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, whatever it is. But you really don't have anything like that in states like Mississippi, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee. Like people aren't really looking here for much of anything. And these states are more historically racist and segregated in general. So it's definitely good that the FBI is stepping up to do something about this in the first place. But stuff like this does go on, particularly in locations that we don't pay much attention to.
Yeah, and that's the reason why media, free media, not purchased by corporations or becoming some kind of expression of the governmental interest, free independent media is important because it becomes the light required to expose corruption in your local area and beyond. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Our audience has given us everything, so we couldn't be more connected. When we first started, people would start giving us directions and say, okay, the mics are too large, move them. Turn them into lav mics. I mean, they were incredible. And then one guy walked in and gave us a really expensive switcher and said, you guys need this, and walked out. Okay, it's amazing. They helped us build a studio. They did a $2 million funding campaign for us. And so they really are us. We do this show together to the point where some of our hosts are even former listeners. So when we say that the audience is part of TYT, we really mean it.
I think what the audience also appreciates is especially if they're members, they really get an inside look into who we are, our personal lives, what drives and motivates us. It goes beyond just storytelling. I think that what we do is allow our viewers and our listeners into our daily lives, and we give them kind of like this inside look into everything that we're passionate about and why it is that we're doing what we're doing, right? Like the motivation behind what we're doing, I think is important for our audience to know, and we're not shy about sharing that with them. And it's different from what people typically see in legacy media outlets where everything is kind of dry and robotic and there's really no personality or authenticity that comes along with it. Oftentimes when we're doing the show, I don't really think of it as me telling them stories. I think of it as us having a mutual respect and conversation with one another. And as I said earlier, I mean, not only do I feel that through the work I do, I'm informing our audience, but they inform me oftentimes as well. You know, they'll pitch stories to us. They'll tell us, a certain perspective or angle to a story that we might have missed. And I love it.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like. tyt.com/join and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitzing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny. Bye. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent. Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Such a big fan. Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, AKA Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting The control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
This is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We got a lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can, kind of pressed for time. Okay. Anna Noodle says, this is Donnie DeNoodle, Mississippi, take a look at yourself, please. Yeah. Canadian Skull Dragon, imagine the trauma of dealing with that after. Yeah. And I think all agencies should be accountable for police brutality. That's right. Rawl_saying, you got to come in the legal ways. Let me just block the legal ways in here. Yeah, that's exactly what the administration is doing. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Hey everyone, Matteo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Let me read a few more comments. Canadian Skull Dragon says, good thing they found those contradictions or picked up on it. Locks TV1, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much. And that's it. All right. Well, here we go. Fox News. Well, Gutfeld goes on rant about conservatives being called Nazi. Here it is.
This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis. Nazi this, Nazi that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Oh my hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Nazi, please.
Thank God you did a hard eye there.
There's no one who says what's hanging by, Nazi. Jackson, thoughts here?
I mean, first and foremost, Greg Gutfeld is not a serious person. So he, I don't know how serious he is about this in general, but it's not really a good equivalence because Nazi is a specific subset of white people and the N-word was just black people. You know what I'm saying? So like it was just a word for people at the lowest of the caste system. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, you can't really even get mad at it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if you want to go around calling each other Nazis, then do your thing. What does Jank always say? Have at it, Hoss. You know what I'm saying? Like, do what you got to do. Ain't nobody stopping you. Ain't nobody stopping you. Do that.
Obviously, the only place you could do that is Fox News, with the kind of panel that you had there, sir. Always a pleasure having you on the program, dear brother. Tell people, I think, follow you, check out your great work.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Y'all can check me out at Politics and Paper on YouTube. I got some documentaries coming out soon. I'm very excited about sharing them. But yeah, Politics and Paper on YouTube. Check me out.
Looking forward to it. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.